evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have the pleasure to join us over here with one of the boxers from San Luis Potosi, Mexico, Arturo Pedraza. Hey, thanks for joining me on this interview. How are you? How do you feel?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. The pleasure is mine to be here. Thank you for the space and the interview. We're gonna get this through.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to me. I mean, when it comes to interviews, and like I always tell everyone, everyone is welcome. Fans, pro boxers, and amateur boxers. Why not? I mean, eventually, the experience that you guys always gain in every fight, or when once you step into the ring or doing a sparring, is always respectful when it comes from my behalf because, like I said, it's always sometimes easy to talk but once you be in the ring, is a different story. So, but here we are. Tell us, Arturo, how do you got into boxing? I mean, eventually you are an amateur boxer. Can you tell us, how many fights do you have in your career?
I have 11 fights right now. In Mexico, all my fights. My story is kind of curious because I started late when I was entering the my studies from the university, and I was starting in law school. So there was this tournament in school where everyone would go to put the gloves with some friends, and I was sometime I was an MMA fighter before I started boxing. So when I was like 15, I started with MMA. I trained like half a year, and then when I started in law school and that tournament, a pro boxer was trying to get some rounds in, and I said I'm down. So we fought. This guy, I think he fought even Sean Garcia, Ryan Garcia's brother, and we got like 3 rounds, and I fell in love with the sport. I mean, he beat me up a little bit. I'm gonna be honest, but that like started a fire inside of me, and I fell in love with the sport so much. So my first thought it was for the next year of in the same tournament, I'm gonna train and I'm gonna be prepared and I'm gonna take this serious and I'm gonna start fighting. So I did, and the next year I was training already with pro boxers, amateur boxers. So it was crazy for me to start in university, and little by little I'm starting to get into this world so much. I mean, right now, um, training with pro boxers, sparring champions, former champions here in Mexico. So it's crazy.
So it's good that you eventually started from a tournament and basically in university you were there and you got in love with it. Eventually, it gave you the fuel where you fired up yourself and then you got in love with it. It's great to hear your story. I mean, eventually one day we probably gonna see you. We're gonna see you as a pro boxer. How long do you think you can stay in as an amateur boxer? I mean, an amateur, amateur boxer. I mean,
I think this is my last year as an amateur, hopefully,
oh, great.
because I started late. So I think I'm 25, just turned 25 this weekend. So
Oh,
I got the experience. I got the rounds with pro boxers and all of that, but I gotta start thinking about that jump from
oh,
amateur
oh,
to pro.
it's great. I mean, when it comes the decision that you will make, I think is very respectful and of course, as much as you can think and you feel very confident, comfortable and ready for that. Why not? I mean, by the way, congratulations. I mean, your upcoming birthday is very soon, and I wish you nothing but the best. God bless you. Just stay in this road that you already picture yourself one day to turn as a pro. And what can I say? I mean, being from Mexico, San Luis Potosi, Mexico, it's great to hear from Mexican boxers, and let's say you always gonna be doing good. I mean, eventually, because as much as I've seen in this sports, Mexican boxers always come hungry and everything. Right now, let's talk about someone that eventually he used to be in the street selling ice cream, lollipops, and all of that. The name is Canelo
I know about
Alvarez.
that.
Canelo Alvarez, the greatest story. And what can I say? He's been transcending in everything and every aspect that he pictured himself, looking for better fights and looking for. What can I say? I can add it, a lot of things. I mean, people might discredit Canelo Alvarez, but when it comes to me, I take, hat off from my head and say, hey, he's been doing a lot of things for the sports. I don't think, with all due respect to Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., he's always gonna be remembered. People are always gonna remember him, but the name of Canelo, he's transcending, everything. And if I'm not mistaken, he's the first Mexican doing great things in boxing. But right now, it comes a fight that there's the trilogy fight, the third one against Triple G. What do you think of this fight? How do you picture, this fight will go?
Yeah, I mean, Canelo is great for Mexican culture, Latino culture, let alone boxing. I mean, he's transcended boxing. He's an athlete. He's an icon, I think. He's the first undisputed Latin champion, the first Mexican undisputed champion fighting in those weight classes that, I mean, above from welterweight, we haven't really see a Mexican fighter do that. In those great divisions like the Fantastic Four divisions, like the Roberto Duran, the Sugar Ray Leonard, all of those great fighters fought in those weight classes, and Canelo's doing great. With this fight with Triple G, I think, I mean, it's not the same Triple G we used to see in the past years. It's gonna be a great fight because the styles, Canelo's style is perfect, or the other way around. Triple G's style is perfect to Canelo to showcase his skills, and for Golovkin too. I mean, the styles are perfect for the matchup. Two bangers. I mean, Canelo can bang, can counter punch. He can box if he wants to, and Triple G comes forward all 12 rounds. But like I said, I think Triple G is. I mean, he's 40 years old. He still is in shape. All year round, he's in the gym. He's not a party man or something like that. And he's healthy, but I think Canelo might knock him out this time.
It's
Maybe even in the past the sixth round, I think he can knock him out.
it's something that eventually it's kind of like unpredictable right now. I mean, eventually, it's true what you're saying. It could be possible that Canelo will knock him out, Triple G, because I mean, 24 rounds that both of them they already know each other. They know what they have to do, and I think the study around and everything is gonna be over. Both of them they already know each other. How they're gonna perform. I think over here, whoever makes the first mistake is gonna pay the price. I mean, when it comes to Triple G, so much respect for him because he has gave us a lot of great fights. But I think
Of
age
course.
age right now it will play a real fact in the case that We don't know how the stamina comes. We don't know how strong he could be. I might gonna be wrong, if I say, he's gonna lose, but who knows? That's why I invite everyone and encourage everyone to watch this fight because it's gonna be
Of
interesting.
course, yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see how both of them they will come and display everything, every skills, everything that they had practiced in the gym and all of that. Eventually, right now, people criticize Canelo right now because he has a loss against Dimitri Bivol. But to be honest, if we can say, or we might say, oh, he just lost and things like that. I mean, he lost to a guy that it was pretty much dangerous, pretty much
Of
strong,
course.
and we gotta respect that because not every Mexican boxer reach for a different weight class division, even though he doesn't belong there. To be honest,
He dared to
he
be great. Yeah.
but he's looking for greatness, and we can't discredit that because if we discredit that, I think we taking away from Dimitri Bivol all his skills and everything. I mean, congratulations to Dimitri Bivol for this win over Canelo. I'm not trying to discredit Canelo, but he came out a little bit short. I don't know if that in the future will happen a rematch. There are negotiations and between I think if I'm not mistaken, Dimitri Bivol team and Canelo's team. We might gonna see it, we might don't, but eventually right now the task and the fight that is in front of Canelo is Triple G, and I think it makes great boxing to see everything. Like I always tell people, I think it's gonna be very hard to please the fans because they no matter
Yeah.
what they're gonna criticize Canelo, and I think Canelo has to deal with that because if he has to be prepared for that, and I think he's prepared, to deal with all these things that when people criticize him and everything. But I think Canelo, is doing great. This fight will happen, and it's gonna be great for the sports. Talking about great for the sports and all of that, I mean, we seen Dimitri Bivol and everything. We seen that eventually he took this win over Canelo. Dimitri Bivol is right there, but Benavidez is calling his name, and I don't know what's gonna happen when they face each other. What do you think if he? I mean, my bad. I mean, Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo Ramirez is calling out Dimitri. Well, what do you think about him? I mean, eventually Benavidez can jump out in his weight class division, but he's a great fighter. He's taller, and why not? I mean, I don't know how how much weight does he does he walk, but I'm pretty sure he can make weight and fight Dimitri Vol. But first thing first, Zurdo Ramirez is in front of Dimitri Vol. What do you think of this fight eventually if it happens in the future?
I think it's a great matchup. Zurdo is a great fighter, Mexican style type of fighter. Comes forward. He has good footwork. He's a southpaw. Um, he has a good jab. He has a very high ring IQ. So he has a lot of experience. I think he's like 40 something and old, right? He's about to reach Floyd Mayweather's record. I mean, I don't love Zurdo's opposition because he could be fighting better fighters, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's a great matchup for Dimitri Bivol. Bivol, on the other hand, he he's an absolute great amateur background pedigree. He is like, I think, 2 times amateur world champion. He he has that like bouncing style, Russian style, like in the Soviet Union, that style of boxing, pretty bouncing and good jab, excellent jab. I think the jab and the combos from the Canelo fight is one of the greatest displays of that type of style in boxing right now. So I kinda remember Triple G's jab in that fight, and I think Canelo struggles with jabbers.
Oof.
And with Zurdo, I think it's different because in my opinion, Canelo doesn't belong in the 175 division because he might be just too small for that weight. So I don't think he belongs. Even if the rematch happens, I don't know, man. Bivol might take it again, and but Zurdo, he's I mean like above six 6 feet tall, and he walks around heavy. I've heard too, and he's not gonna have that physical disadvantages like Canelo did, and he's a very good boxer. And maybe he's time to shine because all of these other fighters are calling Canelo's name, like you said, Benavidez, even Munguia, Charlo, all of those, Bubu Andrade. They they wanted to fight Canelo, but they have to start fighting each other or in making their own path to greatness, and don't just wait for Canelo to fight you and have a payday.
It's true. I mean, when it comes to, I mean, all due respect to Benavidez, Bubu Andrade, and Charlo, and all these, professional boxers, champions as well. Um, I think probably as you mentioned, it might gonna be true where these fighters they probably gonna fight each other, and I'm assuming the winner of whoever make the match. Let's say in a case, Charlo versus Bubu Andrade, whoever wins from this fight is the challenger, against Canelo, or Benavides against Charlo. Whoever wins from this fight is the number one challenger from this match. But if I'm not mistaken, I spoke, a while ago with Mr. Benavides Senior, and he said that they were, number one challengers for face Canelo.
For
But
the
I don't
for
know
the
what
WBC
happened.
belt, I think.
I don't know what happened. I don't know politics how it goes. Behind the scenes is not my job. To mention how the politics goes. Behind the scenes. But Mr. Benavides told me if we win this fight against whoever they put us in front of, my son Benavides, I think we becoming the number one challengers for Canelo Alvarez. Right now, things went different. Things got different direction. Right now, we seeing Canelo Triple G. I don't know if in the future we might gonna see Dimitri Bivol against Canelo or Benavidez against Canelo. Only the time will speak and everything. But we gotta stay tuned, to keep an eye on every boxer. Keep an eye on every boxer, as I mentioned. Let's not forget about you. How do you feel, representing San Luis Potosi, Mexico, and let's say, where would you like to be your first, professional fight? Do you care if it's out of the country, or you might be say, I'm ready, if it comes in my country, it's well, but if I have to go, in a different country, hey, let's go. So where would you like to be, your first professional fight, if it happens?
I don't know, but it would be so cool if it's here in my hometown even, or here in Mexico. I think our culture is great. Is you don't see boxing shows like here in Mexico. Here, even in Ciudad de Mexico, it's another word for boxing. You might even come to boxers who are not that, or even not even a little uh, with exposure or famous as you want to say, but they're there to fight. They need to fight. So I mean the Mexican culture of boxing is great. I love it, and I would love to have my pro debut here in Mexico. Yeah, of course. But if an opportunity comes out of the country, I would love. I mean, an opportunity is an opportunity. So we're gonna be ready for either of those.
Oh, that's great to hear that eventually you have the mindset where you're gonna say if he comes over here in Mexico, it's welcome because it would be in my hometown. Even if he happens in the DF, the capital of Mexico, that would be awesome as well. But if you have to go, you mentioned if you have to go out of the country, hey, I think you're ready. You're more than ready for that. What weight class would is it the one that you will be more comfortable and started your first pro fight?
I think I walk around like at 150. Even in my amateur career, I fight at 152, like 69 kilos. Or I like 2 or 3 times I fought in the 75 kilos, like the 165 division.
Oh
But
wow.
I would love to move a little bit, maybe be a little bit leaner, and maybe 140. I think 140, 147 at the highest right
Wow,
now.
that would be great to see you turning as a pro, and eventually, the time will speak about it. And like I said, I wish you nothing but the best, in your career, in your life, because I know as much as you want, you pick up boxing, and it's gonna be great for you in your career because once you be in you mentioned in the beginning of the interview, you fell in love with it. You said that this is for me, and of course, you studying also as well, but eventually boxing is the passion that you want to follow, you want to
Of
pursue.
course, yeah, it's
uh,
a
it,
dream.
it's great to see you, and of course we might gonna see you one day, turning as a pro. Eventually one day will happen. Never get distracted, and things like that, because I think what you just mentioned, you have the potential, you have the skills, and I think it's gonna be great in your career. Before we wrap it up this interview, would you like to send a message to the fight fans, everyone that supports you, family, friends, and whoever is gonna watch this interview?
Yeah, I mean, thank you everyone for joining this interview, for uh, you sending me support. Yeah, um, I love all my supporters. Might be not that big of the exposure, but it's great for me to be starting to have conversation like this. Thank you to you, Christian, and nothing. I mean, just be prepared to see another great Mexican fighter
Oh,
until it comes.
Oh, eventually, I mean, God willing, I will be here, and of course, when it comes to me, I give you always, support to everyone who want me to support them. Like I always tell everyone, I wish nothing but the best for everyone in their careers. I'm not the one who talks with my feet, with my punch. You guys are the ones. But when it comes from me, I'm always gonna give a respect to everyone. Whoever loses a fight or whoever wins a fight, to me it comes always a respect from my behalf, because like I mentioned early in the beginning, it's easy to talk, out of the ring, but once you be in the ring, it's a different story. Even like I always tell people, even if you're gonna get knocked out, you have to have guts in order to be knocked out, as well. But much love and respect to whoever step into the ring, and like I always tell everyone, you don't owe me anything. If you feel like you cannot continue the fight, just stop the fight. Don't wait until the referee does that. There's nothing wrong to stop the fight. You want to live another day, and you want to be healthy. So I always wish every fighter the best. God bless each and every one. Whether it's a female or male fighter. I always wish everyone great. And like I said, it's always respect, and as we gotta maintain ourselves professional. I like to see when both opponents, after the fight finish and everything, they come and they give hug, and they gather together sometimes to take a meal to eat, and it's always respectful when you see things like that. That's how the sport has to be.
And end up in a friendship, like so many examples in the boxing scene.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, every boxer, every single one that steps in a ring deserves a lot of respect, and there sometimes fans or they say that boxers are afraid of some other boxer or are ducking another boxer. I don't think any boxer feels. I don't think any boxer is afraid to fight another boxer. I mean, every boxer deserves the respect, and everyone who steps in the ring deserves to be praised and supported. Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with your message. Before we leave, this interview, can you remind us your social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever where we can catch up, yourself and see the stories. Can you remind us?
Yeah, I'm Instagram. I'm I am Pedraza. In TikTok, I'm Pedraza Boxing, and that's in Facebook Pedraza Boxing as well. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. So every fight fan, fans, boxing fans, catch up, on his social media accounts, and definitely we're gonna start, keep an eye and of course, see, when whatever you bring, to the stories, anything that you want to post it, we're gonna keep an eye on every boxer, and of course, continue supporting boxing. Arturo, thanks for joining me on this interview. Wish you nothing but the best. Congrats and hey, happy birthday. It's upcoming birthday for you.
Yeah. No, thank you to you, Christian. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for the space, for time. It was great this to have this conversation. Thank you.
Oh, thanks to you. In the future, we might gonna contact you again, and of course, it's gonna be a pleasure from my behalf. Thank you again. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Good night.